Hey there, Lucas Ballahood here for this week's episode of Finance Fridays. I'm with Coldwell Banker RMR Real Estate and the Ballahood Group. And this week, Alex is playing hooky. It's March break. She's got a house full of kids, so she's spending her time trying to herd them around the house and keep things organized in her household. So as a result, her brother Ethan, because Alex and the Jobs are a mortgage specialist family with RBC, and we're a family-based business as well. So Ethan is filling in for her today. Ethan, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks, Luke. Thanks for having me. And yeah, like you said, I'm filling in for Alex today. I'm Alex's younger brother. So yeah, we do work as a family. Of course, both my sisters, my brother-in-law, my mother, all in the business. So similar to your world, working with your dad there, Joe. It's a good aspect. We can kind of fill in when we need to. So maybe the next time it will be me and Mr. Joe on here.
Yeah, if I could ever get Joe on camera, that would be like hell freezing over. But we should definitely try. I like where your head's at there.
Yeah.
So Ethan, just to tell people a little bit about yourself, like how long you've been in the industry and working with RBC, and why do you love this business?
Yeah, so just to give you a little background, of course, I was, like I said, my mom has been in the business forever, so we kind of grew up. We say that the mortgage side is in our blood, but I've been a mortgage specialist. I'm in my 12th year, so straight out of university, right in, jumped in head first. So it's been a good last 11, 12 years. Lots changed in the market. Obviously Durham as a whole, we're in a very good market that way. A lot of real estate. A lot of clients that have mortgages. So yeah, it keeps us busy, and it's always changing. So it's always nice. Just like you guys, been busy over the last couple of years. It's been a little bit of mayhem, but yeah. Other than that, I'm a father. Have a young 8-month-old son. Like to play hockey, golf, stuff like that. So all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, and congrats. I know we were talking recently about your young one at home, and now he's, finally starting to get a little bit of sleep again and get back into what feels like a normal routine. But that first year is a bit of a grind. So I commend you getting through it here. Almost through it, eh? 8 months.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
After I said that, it didn't last too long. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, since you are our resident specialist with RBC, what's going on at the bank these days? We did hear that the rates held at the last update from the Bank of Canada, which is a good sign. But what else are you hearing at the RBC?
yeah, so that's definitely a positive sign. That was the first time RBC or the Bank of Canada has held their rates. So that's also given us a little bit of an uptick. We've seen more clients getting pre-approved. So that's a good sign into the spring. Usually this kind of March break week, some people are at home getting their houses ready. Hopefully the nice weather comes around the corner. It's a nice, bright, sunny day today. But after that, hopefully, when we get into the spring, that will then drive more homes onto the market and then get more people into homes, because we've already started to see, some multiple offers, some over lists. So that kind of craziness is coming back into the market. So, that could give your buyers a sense of urgency to, make sure they're getting pre-approved, getting their finances in order. A lot has changed over the last year or so. And then, obviously staying close with working with yourself, with your realtor, and with the mortgage specialist to make sure, you're going with your best foot forward.
And thinking about rates, like they've been well over 5%. We've been getting pre-approved in the, getting up there in the sevens in terms of that pre-approval. What are rates trending right now? Are they getting under 5%, or are we still seeing some higher numbers?
Yeah, like the fixed side of things is still in that low fives, like the 5.25 or so. But that's something, hopefully, the trends, hopefully we get into the spring as it gets more competitive and everything like that. We see the rates start to come down, creep down a little bit. Hopefully anyways, nobody really has a crystal ball to say where rates will actually end up. But that's something too, staying on top of your pre-approval, because you could have been pre-approved, 6 months ago. Now with the rate changes, that number that you're actually pre-approved for could be changed, right? So staying on top of that, staying in contact with your mortgage specialist, with your realtor, make sure that you're staying on top of that.
And for those of us who maybe don't know how long, aren't familiar, RBC, once they give you that rate commitment for a period of time, they give you 120 days, right? So you've got to purchase the
Correct.
property and close on that transaction in order to maintain that rate that they've quoted you for within that 120-day period. And if you don't, you've got to reapply. The challenges that we experienced in 2022 was rates were going up. So that was the scary part for people was if I can't find something in my price range now that I want, then it's only going to cost me more later in borrowing costs because my rates are going to go up and I won't be pre-approved for as much. My budget is going to go down as a result, right? So, well, it's a good sign you're seeing people back out, and I think we are noticing number of buyers are showing more confidence in the real estate market here in Durham region. Just looking at the numbers here, we're recording on March 15th. So we're just breaking the halfway point in March, and including conditional sales, I'm counting up in the first 2 weeks here, 490 both firm and conditionally sold properties, which is trending to absolutely smash our February numbers. We were at 601 sales in February. So, we're trending up in a positive direction. And as you touched on as well, we are seeing multiple offers. We're seeing double-digit multiple offers, if you can believe it, too. And even in the luxury market, we're seeing those homes come back on the market and selling for some pretty big numbers in multiples. I was just crunching the numbers again, like looking back at the high end of the pool, the deep end of the pool there, and I saw 7 sales over 2 million and 1 over 3 in the past 2 weeks. So there's a lot going on, and that's certainly a good thing for sellers too. But on the buyer side of things, they are going to see multiple offers. We're going to see, there is some urgency there to get back into it, but that's a good thing overall. After a couple of quiet months there in December and January as well, I think December sales was under 400. So this is a good sign for the market overall. Now we're thinking if anybody's thinking about buying, tax season is quickly approaching here. So one thing I wanted to leverage some of your experience and expertise on today, Ethan, was what the implications of getting your income taxes done in advance of, maybe wanting to make that purchase or go and buy a home. So what is that, or what are the rules with RBC, and how does that affect people?
Yeah, so mainly the importance of course, filing your taxes on time. You don't want to be penalized for a late filing and then owe additional charges, right? So that's kind of the first main thing. Usually what we're looking at is mainly for those self-employed clients. So we're going to use a 2-year history of your claimed income, right? With that, if you only have your 2020 and 2021 tax returns completed, likely that 2020 is going to be a little bit less. That was a year of COVID. There were shutdowns. Clients had to restructure how they did business. So likely that might be a little bit lower than what the normal is, or they didn't maybe have growth in that year. So, in 2022 tax filing, that should be higher. That 2-year history bumps up. That's going to increase your buying power, right? So that's the main thing for self-employed clients. If you're an employee and you're, a salary, then year over year, we're going to be using your T4 and your payslip anyway. So that should be fine. It's more geared towards that self-employed clientele that needs to file their taxes early if they're trying to make a move here in the spring, right? Now, with that, we can still work with the 2020 and 2021. And what we can do is there's kind of 3 different ways, 3 different programs that we can structure you under. So depending on what bucket you fall into, you can have less than the 20% down, purchase a property through CMHC, and you can be self-employed. So they do have a self-employed program there. That's fine. Then the second bucket would be you have your 20% down payment on a purchase, or 80% loan to value if we were to refinance your property or switch your mortgage or something like that to access some equity, right? Now, with that type of self-employed income, we can take your net income and we can actually gross it up by 15%. So adding some of that income back for you, some of your write-offs that you have. And then the third option would be our self-employed equity program, or stated income, as we like to call it in the mortgage world. That would be a 35% down payment or 65% loan to value. And that allows us to basically, these clients would be mainly incorporated. So usually when you're in an incorporation, you're leaving funds in the business and you're only paying yourself X amount that you need to maintain all of your finances. So likely business owners leave a bunch of money in their business and not drawing that required income to qualify. So with obviously having that equity in the property, what we can do is we can kind of state or gross that income up even a little bit higher. Usually the max starts to cap out at about 3 times your income. Again, that has to be supported by your business financials and has to make sense. So that's something that, even though that you might not be claiming a ton, we still might be able to fit you within one of these 3 different programs with self-employed. So even on the bank side of things, there's still options with self-employed. Getting back to filing on time, that's going to help. It's the most recent tax information, so that allows our approval center to maybe grant a few more exceptions because they know exactly where you are. So yeah, those are some things. Of course, if you're filing your taxes, you would want to deal with an accountant, right? Have some professional advice that way. Always recommend that, but totally up to you. Some clients like to do that themselves. Other clients like to drop it all off their accountants and have it all done for them. So those are some, kind of key ways for self-employed and filing on time.
It's certainly a huge thing, between I know because my understanding as well with the CRA is for self-employed folks is that your deadline to file isn't necessarily like April 30th. I think it's in June. I could be wrong on that, so maybe we should edit this out because I'm going to spread misinformation. I don't want to do that. But yeah, it's so important that we are doing those things on time. You don't want to be faced with penalties and whatnot, and trusting the professional to do that. Heck, that's the way I go with it. I say I'm a professional in real estate. I would trust my finances with an accountant because managing the finance and all those tax rules is not something that I think I should be dealing with, right? So that's so we did want to trust those professionals, and again, I appreciate you sharing that with us. So, are there any other things you've got going on at RBC that consumers should know about right now before we kind of wrap this up, or if we covered everything in terms of the basis this week?
Yeah, so just one last thing. I don't know if Alex would have covered this, but RBC did launch their spring offer. So we have some spring promotions on right now. It actually launched last month, so a little bit early, but early is good because obviously they want to get some of these offers out to the RBC clients. Even if you're not an RBC client, we can still help you. So they're offering some cash, some Avion points, so basically like the credit card points, depending on how much your mortgage amount is, that kind of determines how much cash you would get. So that's on the purchase side. We also offer that on if we're switching mortgages as well. So yeah, some good perks coming into the spring. It's always nice to, maybe get $500,000, whatever it is. Maybe it's a new TV or a new couch for the new house. So that's always nice. RBC always usually comes out with stuff like this for the spring. So nice little perk. But yeah, importance of getting pre-approved, talking to your mortgage professional, talking with your realtor, staying on top of everything, because this market, as we know, it changes so rapidly and so quickly that you don't want to miss the boat, or you don't want to overpay for something and look back and say we should have purchased back in March, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Ethan, this has been great. It's been great to have you on today, and I'm sure Alex is, jealous that she's, doesn't have a chance to sneak away from the kids for a little bit and get a bit of a break. But I appreciate you joining me here, and you've shared some great information, and I look forward to tagging you in again in the future. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. It was a pleasure, and like I said, we got to get Mr. Joe on here too.
Yeah, we should definitely try one day, see if we can get him on screen, get him in the hair and makeup, and get him to put a suit on or something. But
Yeah.
well, that's awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much, folks. Thanks for tuning in and watching this video today. You'll find mine and Ethan's contact information at the end of this video here. If you have any questions whatsoever, and feel free to leave a comment or reach out directly if you have any questions. So with that, have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.